What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be getting into my Week 6 NFL Power Rankings. Let's get into it. Just dive right into it. Starting out with the number 32 team in the league. Dropping down 3 spots. Firing their head coach a couple days ago on Monday. The Carolina Panthers. 1-4 start just absolutely got demolished by the Niners. It was time for Matt Rhule to be fired, and it was the right decision by Carolina. It was. But yeah, I don't expect things to get better in Carolina. I think that they're going to be able to get. We'll see what it looks like, but we have no idea what the coaching situation is going to look like down here. This defense has been very underwhelming for Carolina through these first 5 weeks of the season, and Baker Mayfield looks absolutely atrocious. So, yeah, the Panthers their season, it looks way down at this point, and they're the worst team in the league at this point in the season, in my opinion. Number 31, climbing out of that worst spot, getting a win this week, the Houston Texans getting the dub over the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. A big win for Houston. Won at 13-6. I believe the game was down there in Houston. But either way, yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Houston Texans, just a competitive team. Throughout these first 5 weeks, they've been competitive. I'll be honest with you. They've really played better than I thought. So congratulations to Houston. They really ran the football in that game. Their defense played. So they're just going to continue to scrap out games like these. But really, the lack of talent is there. They are a well-coached team, in my opinion, but you could tell that the lack of talent is there for Houston. But a big win for them, and congratulations on that. Let's move on to number 30. The Bears jumping up a spot due to the Panthers, the Vikings this week. Same thing with the Bears. Justin Fields, he looked much better in this game. I'll be honest. Good game from Fields. This team, we started to need to see that development. But yeah, the lack of talent still there on the defensive side of the football. The Vikings just absolutely tore them apart in that game. And the offense still has its limitations with Justin Fields. The run game, they're trying to power this football. But yeah, I'm impressed though with Justin Fields. I would take that away as a win for the Bears for Justin Fields to look like that, because they have a lot of salary cap going into next year. So they just need Justin Fields to look like that each week. So anyway, let's move on to the number 29 team, jumping up a spot as well due to the Panthers losing. The Washington Commanders nearly beat the Tennessee Titans this week, just couldn't quite win it. It was a close game. Carson Wentz, though, threw a turnover. They got a turnover on the last play, last drive of the game when they were close to scoring and taking the lead. So it's really not that expected for the Commanders anymore. Wentz just has not looked good to start out the year. And yeah, 1-4 start. It's really not what you want. The defense still hasn't looked great. And yeah, it's looking like Ron Rivera is getting on the hot seat a bit more for Washington. I hate to say it, but it is looking like that way. So tough loss for Washington. And then rounding out this tier, we're going to have the number 28 team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, dropping out of the decent tier into this bad tier. My, oh my, they looked atrocious in that game against the Bills. It is just a bad football team here. Only scored 3 points. Their defense gave it 38. Without TJ Watt, this team just sucks. Let's be honest here. They just suck. They've lost 4 straight at this point. Mike Tomlin, I really was expecting more out of him, but this offense, this offensive coaching game plan, it just does not look good down here in Pittsburgh. I don't know what to say at this point, because this team hasn't had a losing season in, 20 years or whatever? It's looking like they're going to have a losing season this season, very much. So it's tough for Steelers fans, but it is what it is. That's where they're going to be at number 28. Drop it down 2 spots. So that is the bad tier. Let's move on to the decent tier, who just continues to get slimmer and slimmer as each week goes. Starting with the number 27 team, we have the Atlanta Falcons jumping up a spot from last week. Atlanta at 2-3. They're only jumping up a spot because of the Steelers' loss. That's really it. But yeah, I mean, they were able to keep Tom Brady's team to just 21 points. Their defense didn't play bad. And I still kind of like this coaching game plan, but yeah, they just ran into a bigger opponent than them and just couldn't quite get it done. We're going to see that from the Falcons, but this is a team I think at this point it's safe to say that this team can pull off some upsets, and that's why I do believe that they're a decent team. Number 26, I do have the Detroit Lions. Another, just this week, very disappointing. It was not the Detroit Lions we have seen for the first 4 weeks. I know they were 1-3 before this game, but 29-0. This defense continues to be horrible, losing this defense sucks. Let's be honest here in Detroit, but the offense also sucks. The offense sucks. The offense really does suck. The Lions, they're just this offense just they just sucked on this game, and you were expecting more out of them because they've came at the start of the year very solid on the offensive side of the football, but that game was not what we've seen from them. Jared Goff was not playing good. They really need to get DeAndre Swift back. Clearly, they just ran into a horrible defense back there in Seattle. That was a good Patriots defense. So, yeah, Detroit, that's a very embarrassing loss, dropping down 2 spots. Tough for them. Let's move on to number 25. We're going to have the Seattle Seahawks dropping down 3 spots. They played fair enough in the game. They're really only dropping down because of a few teams jumping up ahead of them, getting wins. But yeah, Seattle, this defense clearly sucks. We've seen through 5 weeks. The past 2 weeks have been horrible. The new defensive coordinator, I'm getting worried, but this team, we've seen it before though, starting out the year very tough on the defensive end and turn things around. So we'll see if they can do it again. But yeah, Geno Smith still looks as impressive as ever. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, everything here is working. This offensive line is good for Seattle. Believe it or not, it is good. And this team is a really good offense. This team might be one of the best offenses in the league. I'm not even kidding. Geno Smith looks like a very good quarterback down there in Seattle. So really don't take too much stock in dropping down 3 spots this week. A lot of teams are jumping ahead of them because they had pretty good weeks. Let's move on to number 24. We have the New York Giants jumping up 3 spots. Very impressive win for New York this week against the Packers, man. Surprising when I was counting them out in that game, but we're going to get to the Packers later. We're going to see my opinion on them, but yeah, New York, really very good coaching. Brian Daboll, win. That's probably one of the best head coach hirings in a long time in the NFL because Daboll has really turned this program around right now. 4-1, they were looking atrocious under Judge last season, and he's been able to get Daniel Jones going. He's been able to utilize Saquon Barkley really well, and this defense is playing solid. This is just a solid football team, man. Now, I'm not going to jump up too much on the Giants. 24, a lot of Giants fans probably are like, this is way too low for a 4-1 team. Yeah, I mean, it was one upset. They've played a lot of easy teams in their upsets. I know they beat the Titans, but the Titans were struggling. And in the other 3, they beat the Texans, the Bears. Those other 2, I mean, those are the bottom tier teams. So we're going to have to see what the Giants look like soon if they can keep this rolling. But that was impressive. I'll give it to them. That was an impressive win over Green Bay. Let's move on to number 23. We're going to have the Cleveland Browns down here, staying at the same spot, 2-3. This defense, I'm going to just say it, this defense has underwhelmed. I know Garrett's out, but yeah, it's just underwhelmed. 30 points to give up to the Chargers. This Chargers offense is explosive, but I was expecting more out of this Browns defense to start out the year. But yeah, I got to give I got to tip my hat to Stefanski for the system he's running. This is a very well-coached football team on the offensive side of the football. And that's kept them in games. I know Jacoby Brissett, is really just, he's not a good NFL quarterback, but they're really running the football. Nick Chubb is like one of the best running backs in the league. So he is being able to use it like that. So you love to see it from Cleveland. Hopefully they can keep things going for Deshaun Watson to come back. I know it was a tough loss, but yeah, it was against a better football team. So they fought valiantly, just couldn't quite win the game, even though they had 2 chances to get easy field goals and stuff. But yeah, that's the Cleveland Browns staying at the same spot. Number 22, we're going to have the other New York team, the New York Jets, jumping up 3 spots at 3-2. Very impressive start for New York. This team, I mean, yeah, the very impressive start for Zach Wilson. And in his past 2 games, he comes into here against a solid defense down there in Miami, and he put up 40 points for them. This team is really playing much better. I got to give credit to Robert Saleh. He's changed this defense around this year. This defense looks way better, and that was a huge win. I know Teddy Bridgewater went down for the Jets, and Tua was obviously out in the first place, so you gotta say some of that. But that Miami Dolphins defense, I was expecting to have a legitimate defense, and really they played well. They really played well in that game. So you got to give it to Zach Wilson there and the Jets. Good win. Let's move on to the In the Hunt tier. Starting out with the Jaguars team, number 21, almost dropping out of this tier, but not quite. Dropping down 2 spots. The fortunate thing for Jacksonville, they're in the AFC South, so you're really going to have an open space anywhere at 2 and 3. So, yeah, the Jaguars, that was a very disappointing loss, though, to the Texans. I mean, this offense was looking very good to start of the year. It has slowly dipped these past 2 weeks. A lot of turnovers in the last game and just not getting the job done this week. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people were jumping the gun on Jacksonville. I fortunately kept them down here at like this 20-ish range for a lot of this for after their 2-1 start. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud I was right to not jump too much overboard on the Jags. But yeah, they got to get some things going here. They really got ran over by the defense. Trevor Lawrence threw 2 picks. He's got to be better. He's just been in a hit or miss quarterback to start out the year. So we're going to see what happens with the Jaguars. They got a big game against Indy again this week. We're going to see what happens there. But, yeah, Jacksonville going to be sitting at 21 at 2 and 3. Let's move on to the number 20 team, the New Orleans Saints. 2 and 3 as well. Yeah, the Saints just, I mean, a good win. A good win. They've looked a lot better these previous weeks, but I'm not going to jump them. Their defense obviously got shredded by Geno Smith, but their offense and Taysom Hill had a heck of a game. What a game from Hill. Really the MVP of that game for them. And, yeah, they did what they needed to do to win, and they came up with it and got the job done. So, good win for New Orleans, but it doesn't change what I think about them. I still think that they're in the hunt team right now. Not going to jump up from that win. Let's move on to number 19. We're going to have the Indianapolis Colts here. Going to be dropping down 3 spots at 2 and 2 and 1. Yeah, I mean, they got the win against the Denver Broncos. Congratulations, but that was a horrible game from the Colts anyway. We're going to get to the Broncos. I am very disappointed in the Broncos. But, yeah, Indy, it was not a good win game. Matt Ryan looked horrible. Let's be honest. This has been a horrible start for Matt Ryan's career down there in Indy. And this team is just like this defense, they were able to hold out against a Broncos offense who was playing atrocious. So I'm not going to really put too much stock in that. I feel like they lost anyway in this game. Like, that was a horrible game for Matt Ryan. Jonathan Taylor should be coming back, so hopefully he can kickstart this offense. But, yeah, it is ugly. It is ugly in Indianapolis right now. We're going to see what happens because I was way too high in Indy to start out the year, I'll be honest. So, number 18, We're going to have the next AFC South team, the Tennessee Titans, staying at the same spot, just able to win the game against Washington. Really, that's about it. This team still what I think they are. Good, well-coached team, solid defense, just able to get wins. That's really what the Titans are. I know they have Ryan Tannehill as their quarterback, but good win. Just barely survived against the Commanders. Let's move on to number 17, the Dallas Cowboys, jumping up 4 spots and out of the decent tier. Wow, big win for Dallas. I'm not gonna go too high on them quite yet. I know a lot of people probably are, feel a little bit disrespected by this ranking from Dallas, but I gotta say that was a very impressive win over the Rams. Their defense is just completely looking insane. One of the best in the leagues to start out the year. And Cooper Rush is getting the job done so far. I know he is. Yeah, he's done well. But, yeah, this Cowboys team, you're going up against a bad offensive line in the Rams. So I'm not going to jump them up too much. But, yeah, I'll be honest. The Cowboys, very good win. They are very close to keep on moving up my power rankings. So, solid win for Dallas. Let's move on to number 16. We have the Minnesota Vikings down at 4-1. Just able to get the job done. They're in the playoff tier right there. Just able to get the job done over the Bears. Yeah, the Bears. Kirk Cousins looks like a good quarterback. This offense has played very well. Obviously, the defense still has some worries for Minnesota, but yeah, only going to be jumping up a spot because of the Colts dropping down. That's about it. But good win. Good win for Minnesota. Let's move on to number 15. We're going to have the New England Patriots staying at the same spot. I know they just completely obliterated the Lions. But yeah, I still think this Patriots team, just classic, well-coached team. Bill Belichick had a very good game plan for that Lions offense. They were able to shut them down. You love to see it if you're a Patriots fan. Just time and time again, Bill Belichick's able to bring this team to victory. So yeah, good win. This defense looks really good. We're able to run the ball very effectively against the Lion defense. So that's basically what the Patriots are. I didn't really have much doubts in that game that the Patriots were going to lose it. So good win for New England. Let's move on to number 14. We're going to have the Miami Dolphins at dropping down a spot, 3-2. I know Teddy Bridgewater left the game, but yeah, this offense, this defense just did not look good against the New York Jets. They got to be better than that. And yeah, without Bridgewater in, he didn't really look good, but I think he's better than their third string, whoever played for them. Let me check. Better than Thompson in there. So, yeah, Miami, I'm not gonna harp on them too much because they're coming off a tough injury in the previous week. We really saw what they could do with Tua, and it's just unfortunate scenarios for Miami to get these injuries at the wrong timing is going to bring them down. So just by one. So that's the Dolphins at number 14. Let's move on to number 13. We're going to have the Arizona Cardinals jumping up a spot. We're able to try and come back and beat the Eagles. We're actually pretty close at it. This Cardinals team has just been a theme. They really haven't been able to put together 4 quarters of really solid football. If they could do that, this team is a very good team in the NFL. They just can't do it. Let's be fair, they just cannot do it. I don't know if it comes down to coaching. I'm not a very big fan of Cliff Kingsbury, or if it's just Kyler Murray not able to really play like him at all the stages of the game. They almost beat the Eagles though, so I'm not gonna be mad at them for almost beating the Eagles. So losing to the Eagles. The Eagles are one of the best teams in the NFL. So you like to see that by Arizona. Competing against an Eagles pro team. But yeah, 2-3, not the start the Eagles wanted, but they're going to get DeAndre Hopkins back soon. So hopefully the Cardinals can turn it around once they get him back. But yeah, that's the Cardinals at 13. Let's move on to number 12. We're going to have the Las Vegas Raiders staying at the same spot. This is about as close to a moral win that you can get, playing one of the best teams in the NFL in the Kansas City Chiefs and almost losing by one. We're just 1 2-point conversion away from winning that game. Obviously, I can't really get mad at their defense this game. They're coming up against Patrick Mahomes, so really can't get mad at their defense. For their offense, Derek Carr was able to get some things going. McDaniels has really turned things around the past 2 weeks on that side of the football. Against some solid defenses in the Denver Broncos and the Chiefs this previous week. So, I'm not mad about the Raiders' loss. They're 1-4. It's very disappointing. But aside from the record, as a football team, I do think this team is the 12th best team in the league. So that is the Raiders right now. We're done with that in the hunt tier. Let's move on to the playoff tier just to wrap it up. Starting at the number 11 team, the Los Angeles Chargers, staying at the same spot. Just still a lot of questionable fourth down decisions. I don't know what they're doing on fourth down to go for it. They don't get that. They could lose that game because of that. It's just weird decisions by Staley in this offense. I just don't understand why. But yeah, they were able to win against the Browns. Their offense looked really well. Defense, was not great. But yeah, the Chargers they're going to be staying in the same spot. Just does not change what I think about them. Just got the job done. 3-2. Let's move on to number 10. The Los Angeles Rams, the next LA team down here. Disappointing loss for the Rams, but it was a bad matchup for LA from the get-go. Going up against a pass rush, their O-line sucks. These past 3 losses have shown that they cannot go up against good pass rush teams, and that's really why I am dropping out of the contender tier, because there's no way they're not going to go, especially in that NFC, against a very solid pass rush team in the and on their road to the Super Bowl. I just think that this team's going to probably make the playoffs, but once they can get protection from Matthew Stafford, as we seen against the Cardinals and the Falcons, two bad pass rush teams, they can really get this offense going. This defense hasn't looked great to start out the year either, but yeah, very matchup dependent team. You don't like to see it if you're a Rams fan, but it is what it is for LA. Let's move on to number 9. We're going to have the Baltimore Ravens jumping up a spot. Almost into this contender tier. They're close. They are very close, but just able to get at the win over the Bengals was a big win for them in this NFC. I still have the Bengals higher than them, Alex. I just think that the Bengals, they're on the road, and the Bengals, showed some things. But yeah, Lamar Jackson's played well in this game. Very solid. This defense took a better step in the right direction for the Ravens, holding the Bengals to only 16 points or 17 or however much 17. So yeah, that helps my analysis on the Ravens to get their defense going. They're very close to getting in that contender tier. We're gonna have to see what happens this next week. But yeah, that's the Ravens right now. And let's move on to the contender tier. Number 8. The Denver Broncos, dropping down 5 spots from this previous week. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say at this point. I've really tried to back up the Broncos this season. I really have. I said it, I believe in Russell Wilson. I still do. I really do believe in Russell Wilson, but he has looked horrible. He has looked horrible. This Broncos offense looks horrible. They just it was just like horrible. On Thursday Night Football, you cannot make this stuff up for Russell Wilson. You're paying him $250 million, and he's throwing picks back. I don't know what to think now. I don't know how to back him up. This defense, they're good. They've proven that they're a good defense. But with Jamal Williams out now, like what can you say? Wilson has got to get some things going, and they're not going to drop out of the contender tier yet because I do believe in him as a quarterback. I do think he can turn this around. He's one of the best quarterbacks, ever to play the game. He's the best deep ball thrower in the league and like ever in NFL history. So he has got to get things going. I just hate to say it. I hate to say it. I don't know if it's Nathaniel Hackett, just not doing good, but it's Russell Wilson too. Russell Wilson has looked bad. He has looked bad, and he's got to be better for this Broncos team. So I am disappointed. I really expected more out of the Broncos this season, and if we keep saying the same thing, they're just going to keep taking these big dip drops. And you hate to see it. You hate to say it for the Denver Broncos, but I really do. I really believed in this team. I had this team in the AFC Championship. I had this team at, one of the best teams in the AFC. The number 3, my number 2 team entering into the year because I believed in Russ as a quarterback, but it has looked horrible down there in Broncos country. Yeah, I don't. It's just a depressing town down there. Let's move on to number 7, the Green Bay Packers, dropping down 2 spots. Green Bay not out of the hook either. Both these teams very close to dropping out of the contender tier because Green Bay really. I don't know what's the problem with this defense, but come on, coaching. It's got to be better. Like you're playing the Giants. You have one of the best defenses in the league talent-wise. Get it together. Have a solid football game, 4 quarters of it on the defensive side of the football. Like, I don't know what to say for Green Bay anymore. Aaron Rodgers made questionable decisions. He looked good in the first half, but he made questionable decisions in that second half, and they're going away from the run game when they have 2 of the best running, like, probably the best duo at running back. Like, I don't understand it for Green Bay. Like, this team, they clearly like to go old school, draft defensive players. Come on, play into it then. Play into it. Run the football. Play good defense. And don't be so conservative on the defense side of the ball. These 2 teams make me so mad the way they're playing right now because it's just horrible down there. I don't know what to say for them. So, yeah, those are those 2 teams. Let's move on to number 6. We have the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals at 2-3 right now, staying at the same spot. Cincy, there's still some problems for the coaching with Zach Taylor. He did not have a good game. He made some questionable decisions. But Joe Burrow, it's not his fault. He still looks like a solid quarterback. Just, with the play calling, it's just weird for him. Joe Judge is not doing the right things, I think. So, yeah, 2-3 start. I'm not going to discredit them losing to a good Ravens team, division rival on the road, but tough loss for Cincy. You would want to win that game. Just Justin Tucker, the best kicker ever in the NFL, just got it done. And it's tough to say it for them. But yeah, let's move on to number 5. We're going to have the San Francisco 49ers just kicking the crap out of the last team in the league, Carolina. Jumping up 3 spots. Jimmy G just getting the job done. This defense has looked amazing to start of the year. And that's really all it is to the Niners. They just got a very, very good defense. We're going to see what Jimmy G looks like as he keeps going. But, because obviously there's going to be some holdbacks there. But, yeah, this team at this point, with a lot of teams struggling, they're a top 5 team in the league, in my opinion, at this point. Let's move on to number 4. We're going to have the Philadelphia Eagles jumping up 3 spots, being able to beat the Arizona Cardinals at undefeated. They're undefeated to start out the year. So you love to see it. You love to see it. The last undefeated team remaining, finally getting into this top 5 for me. Yeah, Jalen Hurts still looking good. This defense, this team has proven that they could win in all 5 levels, play good offense, play good defense, pass rush, you name it. This team has done it. They got another tough test against Dallas this week, where we're going to see a good game on Sunday Night Football, I think, down there, the way these 2 teams have been playing lately. I do think the Eagles are clearly the better team, where I have the Dallas Cowboys ranked in the Eagles, but yeah, it's 2 division rivals, so we're going to see there. But very good win for Philly this week. So yeah, let's move on to the number. Sorry, guys, I cut off there for a bit, but yeah, let's move on to the number 3 team. In my opinion, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just getting the job done this week against the Atlanta Falcons, 21-15. You know, a very good bounce back game. You're playing a very much lesser team after, you know, playing a very good team in the Kansas City Chiefs. So you like to see that for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, able to get this defense going a bit more, you know, able to slow down this Falcons offense. And Tom Brady just was able to get some things going. Definitely not playing as good of a pass rush this week in Atlanta. So you like to see it if you're the Bucs here, getting the job done over the Falcons. Just going to be staying at the same spot from jumping up a spot because of the Broncos collapse. So that is the Bucs right now, with the Eagles very slowly gaining right now. I do think that they're slightly the better team in this NFC, but it's close. It's very close between those two teams. Let's move on to number 2. We're going to have the Kansas City Chiefs at 4-1. You know, we're down big against the Raiders, but very good teams find very good ways to win. They were able to get the stop on the 2-point conversion. Patrick Mahomes just lit it up. Travis Kelce, thank you for my fantasy team. He just went crazy, and the Chiefs were able to pull off that win in a crazy game. That was a good Monday nighter. I was kind of counting out the Raiders, but Raiders proved me wrong in that previous game, so good win for the Chiefs. But then the number 1, of course, is Buffalo. These two teams play. These two teams are going to play this week, so we're going to see who flip-flops. But yeah, Josh Allen and this Bills team, they just completely shredded the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just defense looked good. I know it's against a very bad Steelers offense, but defense looked good against them. Their offense just completely obliterated the Steelers. This Bills team is easily the number 1 team still for me in the NFL right now. So yeah, we're going to see. You know, if the Chiefs win, they're going to probably jump up to 1. The Bills win, they're going to stay at 1. We're going to see what happens. It's going to be a fun game on Sunday. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully you all enjoyed the comment. Comment down below your power rankings. And anyway, peace